Welcome to the Conscience of Kansas radio show with Paul A. Ibbetson. A no-nonsense conservative talk show that looks at the local, state, and national issues that affect the people of Kansas. And now, here's Paul A. Ibbetson.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very special guest with Brenda Smith. She is the president of the Kansas Federation of Republican Women. They are a branch of the National Federation of Republican Women. You can find the National Federation of Republican Women at their website at www.nfrw.org. You can find the Kansas Federation of Republican Women at www.kansasfederationofrepublicanwomen.org. And Brenda Smith, we'd like to welcome you to the Conscience of Kansas radio program.
Well, thank you. I'm pleased to be here.
Well, you know, it's our pleasure, and what an interesting group you guys have. The Kansas Federation of Republican Women has been around for a while, hasn't it?
We've been around even longer than the National Federation. We actually formed a state federation in 1930, and the National Federation wasn't totally organized until 1938, and Kansas actually affiliated with the national organization then in 1939. The national organization actually celebrated their 70th anniversary in 2008. We started in Chicago at the Palmer House in 1938, and in June of 2008, we met again at the Palmer House to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the national organization.
Wow, so interesting. What a rich history you guys have. You know, here at the Conscience of Kansas radio program, and fortunately, we're not too far away. Usually we're talking with people on the other side of the state or in other countries, but it's really nice when we get to speak to folks from Kansas. And I tell you what, when I think about the potential of an organization like yours, with really, folks, women that are really not always represented so much in the political realm and are growing leaps and bounds, but with such tremendous potential, we get very excited. And so we're very excited about your organization. Could you tell our Conscience of Kansas radio listeners a little bit more about what you guys do?
Sure, I'd be happy to. In Kansas, we currently have 32 clubs. Some of those clubs, we have 2 in some counties, but most counties have 1 club. But like Wichita has 2 clubs, Johnson County has 2 and is starting a 3rd club. Montgomery County even has 2 clubs, as does Lyon County. And what we do, we are a grassroots women's organization that has several goals. Our main purposes are to promote an informed public through political education and activity, to increase the effectiveness of women in the cause of good government, to facilitate cooperation among the national and state federations of Republican women's clubs, to foster loyalty to our Republican Party and to promote its principles and candidates in all elections, including nonpartisan elections, and to support Republican objectives and policies and to work for the election of Republican nominees. So we are basically a very much grassroots effort. But in addition to all the political activities that we do, we're also a service organization. All of our clubs have what we call a Caring for America project. And we take something in our communities that we feel strongly about, and we work with those organizations. It may be a domestic violence shelter. It may be my local club is starting a giving library at our local hospital so that every child that enters the hospital gets a brand new book while they're in the hospital, and they get to take that book home with them.
Great.
It may be helping stock food pantries. We support our troops. We've got one club that has sent over 1 million cookies to our servicemen in Afghanistan and Iraq. So it's just a wide, all-over-the-board type thing that we do. And we also promote literacy. We have the Barbara Bush Literacy Committee that really promotes good books that we can donate to libraries or, again, sometimes we do them to a domestic violence shelter so they can build up their library, or it may be to any type of an organization. And we donate them in memory of one of our members that has passed away or in honor of someone. So literacy is a really big deal for the Republican women as well. Education is huge. We feel like we have to educate our young people. We honor a teacher every 2 years as an outstanding teacher, and at our Kansas Day event in Topeka at the end of January, we will be honoring our winners from the My Favorite Teacher Awards for this this past year.
Wow.
That winner will be then go on to the national competition, so we could have a winner from right here in Kansas.
Wow.
So, I mean, we do a lot of things. It's not just what you think of as a political party, but we are also a service organization in our communities.
Well, that's very excellent. And in many ways, I see those ideas being tied together in some ways. You know, when we look at politics, when I think, you know, I'm what I call a Kansas conservative, and it means that, you know, I grew up my whole life here in Kansas, grew up on the farm, and I was brought up with a lot of these conservative values, this God, family, country, and things that are really championed and found for the most part in the Republican Party.
Exactly.
And that is why, you know, I believe that conservative values would flourish anywhere. But today, in a world where we have a Democrat Party that's moved so radically far to the left, if you want to champion conservative values, you're going to do it in the Republican Party. And so, you know, I see such potential within this party, and I see so many good works coming from Kansas. And so I look to the people of Kansas and the state of Kansas really to be one of the flag carriers of setting the example of the good works that can come with conservative values. And I believe that if people follow the tenets of conservative values, which I call simply put, you know, God, family, country, you're going to see good works come from following that philosophy, that ideology. And it sounds like that's what you guys have going here with the Kansas Federation of Republican Women. I'm very excited and very proud of the fact that you're doing work to support our military. Of course, here in Manhattan, we have Fort Riley here and a big military contingent that are shipping out and coming back from different operations supporting this and really defending this nation. And so it's a big thing. And I also see that, you know, Kansas, like every state, has our catastrophes. You know, we have tornadoes here in Kansas. Some places have, you know, hurricanes and different things. And so, you know, the people of their states, including Kansas, have to help one another. And I see that so abundantly in Kansas. It's a wonderful characteristic of this state, and so I'm very proud that there's an outlet. Now, when we look at women in the Republican Party, and I said that I saw so much potential, you know, there has, in many ways, you know, we've sort of moved out of this time where women are not considered to play a role in politics and different things, and we see women now moving up into these positions and being powerful leaders, inspirational leaders in the Republican Party. And tell us a little bit about what the Kansas Federation of Republican Women does to try to help our leaders in Kansas to, you know, do legislation, if you have any work in that arena.
We do have a lot of work in that arena. You know, one of our big things is that we are out there grassroots trying to, first of all, recruit candidates and look at the women that are around us that are in our local clubs that are serving on a local government that we feel maybe would be great to move into state or federal government. If you ask any politician in the state of Kansas that has a federation club in their counties, I guarantee you they'll say they didn't get elected without the help of the Republican women, because they're the ones out putting up the yard signs, making the phone calls, hosting the coffees, all of that. But in addition to that, we're really trying to educate our members on issues. And we will be meeting as a delegation. We will be attending the National Federation Board meeting in March, and our delegation from Kansas will be meeting with our newly elected Congresswoman, Lynn Jenkins, while we are in Washington, D.C., to talk to Lynn about some issues that are going